again in 2024, some 6 years later.
Okay,
also
let me
with
see.
Team
I have
Lexus.
everything ready.
Canasa, again, a very experienced hand in the world of Gran Turismo. Harald Valsen, also part of that lineup. The Chilean driver, a late addition into Team Lexus in 2024, courtesy of Igor Fraga being unavailable for the World Finals in Amsterdam a handful of weeks ago. Harald put in a stonking performance to get himself right up the sharp end of the grid and help Team Lexus on their way to becoming double manufacturers champions in the GT World Series. Coque Lopez, 25 years old, Manufacturer Series winner in 2021, Nations Cup winner in 22, and then in 23 when it was a team event, and also part of Team Lexus for the Manufacturers Cup champions.
All right, fellas, let me think if I have this right.
A rapturous applause for Coque Lopez as he makes his way then on to the stage.
Let's refresh this.
We then welcome
my
Takuma
guy
Miyazono, 24-year-old from Japan. Did the Triple Crown in 2020, winning the Nations Cup, then the Manufacturer Series, as well as the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup. Also won the Manufacturers Cup back in 2022 with Team Subaru, as well as
Let's see, we got my chat.
this year. He is our reigning world champion in the Nations Cup. Takuma, again, a driver who really knows how to perform at his very best on a high-pressure stage. Makes his way alongside our drivers. These are the 12 then that will compete in this Ultimate Championship Showdown, the Race of Champions 2024, determining the champion of champions, if you will. Now, round of applause for our 12 drivers. They will then make their way on to the sim rigs before too long. Let's have a look though at where we're going to be racing here today. The Tokyo Expressway East Outer Loop is going to be the circuit. We saw this, of course, at the Gran Turismo World Series event in Tokyo in 2024. You can see production cars on racing hard tyres. Qualifying order will set the grid. 10 laps of action then. And it'll be interesting, this one, because the production cars are not any production cars. They are tuned to around about 1,000 horsepower there and thereabouts, with top speeds exceeding 400 kilometers an hour, which is
the Tokyo Expressway. Let's get it.
Of course, due to the nature of this being a street circuit, it does mean that there is no room for error. There's no runoff area. If you do make a mistake, you'll be greeted by the barrier on the outside. 7.2 kilometer circuit with a 2 kilometer long straight means also that the slipstream will be very important here. You can see a very long run out of turn 13 and down towards turn 1. So then let's have a look and see what cars the drivers will be competing in for this event. Now you can see a smorgasbord of production cars, all tuned, as I said, to 1,000 horsepower.
Okay, we're almost ready, fellas. Race is almost about to start.
Valerio Gallo also races for Honda in the Manufacturers Cup. Therefore, he is in the NSX Type R. So keen to see what is going to happen for this one. Takuma Miyazono in the Lamborghini Gallardo. He also raced in that machine back in the Tokyo event for the GT World Series. So be interested to see how he fares, because that'll be a car that he is quite familiar with. Now, the qualifying session, I'm trying to figure this out, but anyway, we got this. Skills and capabilities.
Just want to see if my chat works correctly, that's all.
For the qualifier and how the drivers will line up on the grid. Valerio Gallo started on pole position, 6/100ths of a second in front of Ryota Kokubun. Igor Fraga P3 on the grid ahead of Paul Yura, then Yamanaka Kawakami, Hizao, Lopez, Drumont, Serrano, Valsen, and then crucially Takuma Miyazono, who made a mistake in qualifying, the reigning world champion in the Nations Cup, down there in 12th on the grid, some 2.8 seconds back. The good thing is it's a rolling
this was not broadcast, because like the stream just went live, so I don't want people to confuse like, yo, I wasn't there or whatever, but
down towards
this was
turn 1. So that means he'll be able to make up a fair amount of ground over the course of this race. So there then are the drivers. Keep an eye out for the likes of Paul Yura, Coque Lopez, and Jose Serrano. They were the 3 that were on the podium this year in the Toyota Gazoo Racing.
The Spanish trio, Spanish podium.
And also part of the 3-driver lineup that won the Nations Cup back in 2023. Will they be able to work together maybe and spring a few surprises? They'll of course know one another a little bit more intimately than some of the other drivers due to their workings together over past events in the GT World Series. But it is Valerio Gallo who starts this one on pole position, 6/100ths of a second in front.
Happy New Year's Eve, by the way, to my people.
Keen to see what Gallo is going to be able to do.
And
of course, he will be
you know what?
for a second consecutive victory in the Race of Champions in 2024. And he starts this race in the best possible position for it as well. Let's go down then and talk to the reigning Race of Champions champion, the Italian driver Valerio Gallo, starting this one on pole.
Let's go. So they take stuff from last year? Like, what's their deal?
How you feeling about yesterday? Arigatou gozaimasu, first of all, and well, I'm playing in my house basically with Honda, and I'm here to firstly have fun and enjoy my time here with all these legends, I would say. But yeah, I'm really, I'm really looking forward to it, of course, and I wish everyone to have a really amazing racing, which is, the Race of Champions as well. So it's a really, it's a fun moment. It's a fun moment. It's important, but at the same time, it's very
high resolution as I can.
Enjoyable, and I wish, to give my best also to race as more fun.
ここ家でいつもホンダで走っているんですけど、すごくやっぱり今回のイベントは楽しみにして楽しもうと思っています。こうやってレジェンドのドライバーのみんなと遊べるのはすごく嬉しいです。
So there's some sort of echo over there.
今回のレースチャンピオンのレースもやっぱり楽しみたいと思っています。
Well, great to hear there from Valerio Gallo as drivers get those last preparations in place, ready for the event to kick off in terms of racing. Let's go down though and talk to our reigning Nations Cup World Champion Takuma Miyazono, won the crown for the second time this season. Let's see what he has to say.
まずは、ワールドチャンピオン2度目のワールドチャンピオンおめでとうございます。
My goat, the goat of Gran Turismo. That's him right there, Miyazono. What's cooking?
すごい戦いでしたね。
いやちょっとね、あれ失敗したって今日予選大失敗しちゃいました。
Yeah, they got two microphones on it.
壁攻めすぎちゃってペナルティもらっちゃった。
That's for the echo. Do they have? Is that DJI or whatever microphones taped up, like going somewhere in the broadcast?
はい、時もね、バレリオ・ガード選手と最終ラップの最終コーナーまで激しく戦って、もう最後のストレートでかわして勝ちましたもんね。
はい、ちょっとそれが今日再現できるといいねっていうさっきバレリオの話なんで、またワンチームできるように頑張ります。
はい、ぜひ頑張ってください。
はい、ありがとうございます。
Rapturous applause then here for Takuma Miyazono, reigning world champion in the Nations Cup. Won that title back in 2020 as well when he did the Triple Crown, winning the Manufacturer Series as well as the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup back in the day also. So drivers now on the circuit. This is a bit of practice before we get the race underway proper. You can see the cars and just how fast they're going down this 2-kilometre long straight, bursting out of the tunnel and into the daylight, or daylight I should say darkness really rather, in this one. It's interesting this race as well because not only have we got highly strung tuned production cars, we've also got a mixture of different drivetrains and layouts as well in terms of some cars. So for example Igor Fraga there, he's got a four-wheel drive Skyline, and then you've got Tomoaki Yamanaka in the mid-engined Porsche 911 with rear-wheel drive. On board here with Kanata Kawakami, who's in the Toyota Supra front-engine rear-wheel drive. So I wonder how much these different drivetrains will affect the cars at different points of the circuit, because some will be stronger in different areas than others. You'd expect Igor Fraga with the four-wheel drive to be stronger on traction out of corners, but then, for example, Tomoaki Yamanaka in the high-speed stuff with the mid-engined rear drive layout of that Porsche 911 will be a little bit easier for him to change direction. And then Kanata Kawakami, he's got more weight over the front axle courtesy of the engine being in the front of the car. So that will affect the car differently as well. Here is Kilian Drumont in the Ferrari F40.
Oh my god, why are they having an F40?
Absolutely
is this how this shit works?
And sounding machine, flames spitting out the back of the exhaust. That car built back in 1992 here on Gran Turismo. And then you've got the Audi R8 V10, which is a much more recent mid-engined supercar. So again, a really different layout of machine.
It's a diverse group of cars, but it's just like,
to be able to, you can see here Coco Lopez just
is this how it works every year or something? You know, my first time watching this, I don't know. Put in the chat if like this is how it works. It's cool to see the variety, but is it fair?
Drivers are going to be strong and weak. That's why you saw 3 of them a few moments ago, just practicing amongst one another, just to work out where they
big
their strengths and their weaknesses, and where they can use that to their advantage over the course of this race. Here is Takuma Miyazono. We heard from him a few moments ago, reigning Nations Cup champion. On board now, we ride them with.
So right now, they're still practicing, by the way. They're just like warming up, doing the whole practice thing.
Without a slipstream down.
The official race has not started yet.
And this first turn in particular is a bit of a hairy one because you go in, you've got loads of camber on the inside, but even if you're slightly offline,
but I do like this like overlay that the game creates. I guess it's spectator mode.
In Tokyo
I
earlier
follow
on this season, we saw
FPS esports closely, like Call of Duty and stuff, so interesting how these like racing games, racing sims do this like overlay sort of thing.
Sort of 3-4 wide down the start-finish straight. It then sort of
it's like a Supra,
get too wide,
a GTR,
and someone was always going to
GT3,
end up in the barrier,
and an R8 V10. I'm pretty sure it's the V10 one, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Right on board with Coco Lopez, just how fine the margins are through the S-bends of this middle sector of the lap. Igor Fraga leading Kanata Kawakami, Tomoaki Yamanaka there in the mix as well, and Kylian Drumont, as we said, in that white Ferrari F40 making his way out of the final corner in the dusk setting here at the Tokyo Expressway. As we said, slipstreaming will play an absolutely huge role in this race. Let's ride on board here with Paul Ura.
Like this overlay just appears in first person.
Ura has got without a slipstream in this Mercedes at the moment. Where's he touching in terms of speed? About 380 kilometers an hour there and thereabouts. This is the wide part of the track, and this is where it's about to funnel down, tighten up in towards turn 1. So you can see it really does narrow. You can go 4 wide and then, as I said, really 2 wide, but you've got that camber on the inside. You want to make sure that you're hugging the inside of the corner because, as I said, that barrier on the outside will be awaiting those who even slightly misjudge it or even end up in the wrong place at the wrong time, courtesy of no doing of their own. On board here with Valerio Gallo, speedo off the clock, as you can see on your screen at the moment. Reigning Race of Champions champion is Valerio Gallo. Bitterly disappointed to miss out on the Nations Cup title in 2024. We thought we had an opportunity to be crowned as the champion, and if you remember back to the World Finals in Amsterdam, he was bitterly unlucky to end up sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time. He ended up out on track with Takuma Miyazono in the closing stages of the race, but Miyazono was able to make his way past traffic in the final lap at crucial points, whereas Gallo got stuck behind at the Nordschleife, and because of the nature of that circuit where it was so much one at a time, Gallo just wasn't able to find his way through. Anyway, we are now then ready to go racing. Let's get the grand final underway.
Finals are starting right now.
For the Race of Champions 2024 to begin. So then, drivers are out on track for one final time this season, the Race of Champions 2024. And let's have a look and see how the grid is going to line up here at the Tokyo Expressway in these highly tuned production cars. On pole position, Valerio Gallo, the Italian, the reigning Race of Champions champion. He's got Rios Koppelman in the Mazda RX-7 for company. Next up, Igor Fraga lines up at the head of the second row of the grid with Paul Ura in the Mercedes AMG. Then it is Tomoaki Yamanaka in the Porsche 911 P5 with Kanata Kawakami in the Toyota Supra. Next up it is Mikael Hazau in the Nissan GTR P7 with Coque Lopez lining up in 8th position in the Nismo 400R. Kylian Drumont lines up P9 in the Ferrari F40, and then Jose Serrano in the Audi R8 Coupe.
These guys have gotten good, the Spanish guys have gotten good, but these are like just totally different cars.
And then Takuma Miyazono, the reigning Nations Cup champion, down there in 12th position on the grid after clipping the wall in qualifying. He will be right at the back of the field and has got a lot of making up to do in this race. Now, it is a rolling start here for our drivers, so it does mean the field is fairly spread out compared to what you would see with a standing start, which should alleviate any heroics down towards that first corner. It also crucially means that Valerio Gallo now becomes the pace setter for our drivers. Koppelman, Fraga, and also Pol Ura will follow him down towards that first corner. And I can pretty much guarantee that we are going to see a change of position, maybe not necessarily for the race lead, but certainly further back, because it's such a long run down to that first turn. But we do then head into the tunnel and begin racing for one final time in 2024. Valerio Gallo, Ryota Kokubun, Igor Fraga, Pol Ura, Tomoaki Yamanaka is your top 5. Who will be the Race of Champions champion in 2024? We're about to find out as we come across the timing line for one last time this year and go racing. Valerio Gallo gets the Race of Champions underway here at the Tokyo Expressway. Kokubun, Fraga, Ura and Yamanaka very close in tow, and already, look at that, side-by-side action here between Fraga and Gallo. Fraga hits the front and takes the lead away. Gallo relegated down into 3rd place, and here comes Ryota Kokubun looking for a move potentially on the inside down into the first corner. Ura also having a sniff on the inside of Valerio Gallo, not quite able to make his way through there as Gallo firms it out around the outside, but into turn 2, Ura has the inside line and then does get track position against the Italian driver, who now we ride on board with has been relegated from pole position down into 4th place in the space of just a few hundred metres. And as we come through these fast sweeping S-bends, you can't really overtake at this point on the circuit. It's very much one at a time through this part of the track, because if you do go 2 by 2, you end up with a face full of barrier.
Right.
So Ura then now in the position of having to keep an eye on his mirrors, but also wanting to make sure that Kokubun and Fraga do not get ahead too much in front. Yamanaka up into 5th position there, as well as Kawakami. Any moves being made for Miyazono. He's up into 11th place from 12th position off of the start, and slightly wide there for Igor Fraga through the second of the S-bends as well. So keep an eye out for drivers making mistakes, because that can really cost them very dear. You make a mistake, especially coming onto an acceleration zone like this run down in towards the final corner, it can leave you right open to attack. And speaking of that, Gallo having a look on Pol Ura. Kokubun's a little bit wide here as well. He's going to drop down into 4th place, and Yamanaka is going to take profit on his compatriot as well, and does so up into 4th position there as well. So Kokubun relegated down, and Lopez also getting the better of Kanata Kawakami. Fraga meanwhile has pulled out a gap of just over a second or so, and he's trying to get himself out of slipstreaming range whilst they start battling amongst one another as we come across the timing line to start lap 2 then. So side by side we go here, and Igor Fraga clearing off into the distance and making sure that he is not under any immediate pressure as we head down into that first corner. Ura then on the inside, Ura with Lopez very close behind him as well, and Kokubun there taking a half look on the inside into turn 1, but just not quite able to make anything stick at the moment. Fraga's lead's been whittled down.
I think that this might be like overcrowding me.
Second or so. That's not outside of the slipstreaming range. Slipstreaming range around about 1.2 seconds there and thereabouts. So just keep an eye on that over the course of this race. If it gets down to that sort of margin, or if it decreases to lower than that margin, you can guarantee that Fraga will be under pressure when we come into the acceleration zones. The gap between the two, about 6 cents per second or so.
Yeah, everybody's very close. Fraga's still holding on.
Oh, and look at that. Lopez has ended up in the wall somewhere along the way.
Man.
Now, Gallo just gets
Lopez.
shuffled out into the barrier. That's the problem. It tightens up coming into that middle sector, very much like it does into the first corner. And Gallo there with nowhere to go except the barrier. Thankfully for him, he manages to keep facing the right way and doesn't end up with any damage or problems with his race, but nonetheless certainly a warning sign for him. Just wrong place, wrong time there for Gallo, and he's trying to send it on the outside, bit deep on the brakes though into that hairpin. But if he can switch it back and use that exit to his advantage, he may be able to get a run on the likes of Lopez and Yamanaka. The problem for him though is that they of course have got the slipstream being punched in the hole in the air in front of them, courtesy of Ryota Kokubun. Again, Fraga has pulled out a gap.
This car sounds so good.
Lap 2 to begin lap 3 over Pol Ura, so puts himself
this
out
is the RX-7
range, and that's what we're used to seeing from Igor Fraga. Once he gets in front, he loves leading from there and just not being bothered at all. Meanwhile,
damn, this straight is just so crazy.
He's being overtaken here by Ryota Kokubun down towards that first corner. A little bit less messy than we saw last time around. Kokubun on the inside, Ura in the middle there, and Lopez just keeping a watching brief on proceedings. Is Ura going to be able to send it through on Kokubun into turn 2? He's certainly having a look.
Fraga just needs to hold on and just like make sure he has the perfect line, because I think his car is, you know, he has a good car. It's a Skyline. I feel like it's just like Japanese car, Japanese circuit, quote unquote. It's like, it's a vibe right here.
So through these S-bends, this is where it all kicked off last time around for Coque Lopez. No such problems on this occasion. Cockburn there with Yamanaka and Valerio Gallo very close in tow.
Oh, the flames like look so dope.
How fine the margins are here. Miyazono's managed to build himself up into 7th position from starting last and 12th on the grid. We ride on board now with the reigning Nations Cup champion in the Lamborghini Gallardo LP 560. It's a car that he piloted back in the Tokyo World Series event back in October. On the brakes we go, in towards that hairpin bend. You can send a move through on the inside, but the problem is you want to make sure it doesn't leave you vulnerable to attack when you come down this 2-kilometre long straight. For Miyazono, he's managed to get a good exit out of there. He's got Mikhail Hazal in the Nissan GTR very close behind. Kawakami and Hazal are under investigation here for colliding with one another seemingly as well. So into the tunnel we go then. We start lap 4. The laps are ticking on down very nicely indeed. Braga still with a nice advantage over Coque Lopez. The gap will come down at the end of the straight, courtesy of the fact that Lopez has got a bit of a slipstream, but not enough to launch an attack. And look at this, everywhere you look, there are cars all over the shop here as we come up the ramp in towards turn 1. Yamanaka's on the outside here with Miyazono on his inside. Cockburn as well, with Lopez on his inside coming into turn 2. Is Lopez going to be able to get the better of him and maybe launch an attack here on Pole Eura while they run wing mirror to wing mirror with one another and come through the head of each other into these.
But now they're kind of like closing in a little bit. Maybe not.
But look at Fraga, his lead has really been whittled down. It was
never mind. Okay, yeah, I was
last
tripping.
time we checked it, and it's now down to under 1/10 of a second. So for the first time, we're seeing Igor Fraga, the race leader, under pressure here from Pole Eura, who we now ride on board with, the 2023 Nations Cup champion, part of Team Spain, 3 drivers who won that outfit last year. And now we come in towards this right-hander. He's having a look here. Pole Eura, he's trying to force his way through on the inside.
That Mercedes is such a big car.
Fraga's not going to take it lying down, but he doesn't put up too much of a fight because he knows it'll compromise him down towards the next series of turns, especially with the likes of Cockburn, Lopez, et al. All very close behind. So Eura now leads for the first time in this race. Into the hairpin bend we go. Cockburn a bit deep on the brakes, goes into the back of Fraga, who in turn just slightly nudges Pole Eura. Lopez takes cover and Eura spins off into the barrier. Goodness me, Pole Eura's chances of a podium disappear right in front of his eyes. And it's now Miyazono who goes from the back of the grid right up to the sharp end of this race and leads for the first time then as we begin to start lap 5. Here comes Fraga, then back on the attack unfortunate. Lopez, and also possibly to give Miyazono. Harold Valston, where's he come from? Because he's now taking advantage of the slipstream and moving his way up to second in the Nissan GTR. And Serrano, like a hot knife through butter. They're about 4 wide as we funnel down to the first corner. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? And who's going to have track position? Miyazono on the inside, Hazal on the outside in the Nissan GTR as well, and Lopez into the side of Serrano, who gets into Miyazono as well. Goodness me, this is absolutely frantic and fast and frightening, and it's anywhere you look, positions are changing corner by corner through these S-bends. They're going to have to calm down slightly because one of them will end up facing the wrong way. Cockburn then just in the middle of the pack there. Yamanaka, Gallo, Valsson as well. It just shows how quickly it's changing because Valsson was going for the lead of the race down to the first corner, and now Gallo is on the inside here of Cockburn and possibly looking to take the Chilean driver here as well. Nothing doing for him, but Valsson just slightly into the wall. That'll cost him a little bit of time and possibly a bit of a run through this next series of corners, and indeed it does, possibly leaving him under attack here from Valerio Gallo, who lunges to the inside. Back with Hazal in 4th position here as well. It has now thankfully calmed down at the front, but Lopez it is then that lead from Jose Serrano to Kimi Miyazono and Mikhail Hazal, but not for long because Hazal's looking to try and move his way through into 3rd place into the hairpin. There's a half gap there on the inside, but Miyazono a bit wide through the second phase of that corner. Hazal says thanks very much and uses that 4-wheel drive of the Nissan GTR to his advantage to go through and into 3rd position. Now then, what about Tomoaki Yamanaka? We ride on board with the 31-year-old. Winner of the Manufacturers Series. Okay, he's not. He's repping the old people squad right here. Now races for Team Porsche, gives away. They can hide the camera. Kind of in no man's land here, really, because Igor Fraga slides his way through with the advantage of that slipstream. And I wonder how long it's going to be
this
before
right here.
these drivers are able to catch up to the likes of Lopez, because there's a gap of about a second or so, and they're going to have to work together here. If they start duffing one another up, they're going to cost themselves time and possibly allow that
I'll just get myself down here.
But you can see
And
just how prominent that slipstream is here at this Tokyo Expressway circuit.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
Just
the camera comes out.
Corners later, and it's so changeable in terms of the conditions.
Let's see. Oh, there we're seeing. There we see right there. Oof. That is just unfortunate.
He dropped down right to the bottom end of the field. Such a shame there for Paul Ura, now down in 11th position. Something's also happened to Kanata Kawakami in this race, because he's down in 12th position.
That just sucks. Like, it's like, that's it. That's the race right there for them.
Quite well. Oh, Lopez into the wall there. That's allowed Miyazono and Serrano and Yamanaka to go through. So Lopez just making a slight mistake there, and such are the fine margins we have here in the Race of Champions. Meanwhile, the steely concentration of Mikhail Hazal, who now leads a race in the Gran Turismo Race of Champions. So nice to see Mick back in the seats, and he was a very prominent name back in 2019, 2020, there and thereabouts.
Old school right there.
Last saw the Turkish-German driver in the GT World Series. Now back here for a one-off event in the Race of Champions, but gets it slightly sideways, coming out of that hairpin bend, and all of that drive that he's lost, that momentum, means he's going to carry that down towards the next corner, and it's going to leave him vulnerable to Takuma Miyazono and possibly here Tomoaki Yamanaka as well. So we go into the tunnel, then we're going to burst into the light once again. Miyazono, look at this slipstream and look at how overpowered
this guy is so good. Holy shit.
Drivers are getting without the slipstream there. 390 Takuma Miyazono is hitting with even the slightest of slipstreams down towards that first corner. Does he
you can hear the wind. Holy shit.
Down to turn one, not quite at the moment. Looking in the rearview mirror on the right-hand side of your screen there, Hazal just not close enough to launch an attack against Miyazono, and Fraga also looking on Yamanaka again here as well. Lopez, Gallo, Serrano and Cockerman all very close in tow behind as well. We're on for a grandstand finish here, and there's still 3.5 laps remaining at this Tokyo Expressway circuit, so place your bets now, because it is anybody's guess as to how this one is going to work out. There is Mikhail Hazal, there's his avatar, as you can see.
And this dude's hair is like majestic.
2019, thankfully, he must have been bathing in the fountain of youth, because he hasn't looked to have aged a day. On board we ride though with Mikhail Hazal, and you can see there, Miyazono just building up a little bit of advantage in this middle sector. The rear drive layout, the mid-engine layout especially, of that Nissan Gallardo, sorry, that Lamborghini Gallardo was right on board with the Nissan GTR.
You know, they use the bumper cam, like they use this camera versus the hood cam. What camera do you guys use?
Over Hazal in the middle sector of the lap, but the problem is that Nissan GTR, pretty handy in a straight line. It's always been a bit of a missile. Go in towards that hairpin bend, you can see just how close Hazal is on the inside. Yamanaka and Fraga still pretty close to one another there for third position as well, and Gallo versus Lopez in 5th and 6th place also. So
that's a good question. Which camera do y'all use?
This is your former race leader, Igor Fraga, finished second at the Race of Champions in 2023. He's now looking at a podium finish, but I'm sure that'll be set to change before too long.
Yeah, we got 3 laps to go, 8, 9, and 10. Don't play. And look at this, look at this.
With 3 abreast.
Holy shit.
Turn 1. Who is going to be last of the late breakers? Fraga's going to be on the outside line here, but can he use the track position to his advantage? That's the problem though. He's off camber compared to them, so he has to use it to try and get the switch back into turn 2, but can't quite do so. And Miyazono and Hazal sit in 1st and 2nd place.
That is such a challenge, because you have to be aware like where your car is
behind as well, keeping a watch
and how much grip you got,
as well as Fraga just looking
and not crashing into the other people.
Into these S-pens, but nothing doing for the Brazilian at the moment. An eye out as well for the likes of Yamanaka and Cockerman. They're very much in contention for this. They're only about 7/10 of a second behind Coque Lopez, who sits in P5 at the moment. On board with the Italian Valerio Gallo then.
I love this car. Like, I like the NSX. It's just a beautiful car. Honda. How can you like not like it?
It's a real thinking driver's race, this one. You've got to use the pace to your advantage in the areas where you've got it, really. You can see though that Hazal soaking up the pressure from Takuma Miyazono into the braking zone. Think about a lunge into the hairpin bend. Well, Gallo does on Fraga. Can he do it though? He's looking on the inside. I think he's going to be able to try and make this one stick here. And he does get himself up into third place then, so nice move there from Valerio Gallo, but Fraga, the straight line speed and the slipstream, look at that, slides his way through on Gallo, gets past Takuma Miyazono like he's standing still, and now Gallo fancies a piece of the pie then, so now 2 laps to go here in this grand final for the Race of Champions title. At the moment it'll be Mikael Hazal, but here comes Koke Lopez entering stage left in the Nismo 400R, down in towards the first corner we're about to go, and Hazal, a bit of a sitting duck here.
2 laps left, so this is it. This is it.
Lopez getting 2 for the price of
no mistakes here.
Now slightly into the side there of the Japanese driver as well, and Gallo just ready to try and take advantage of it. Further back, you've got the likes of Serrano in the green Audi R8.
Damn, Ura's not even like he gone.
As well as Harold Valsen. Through to these S-bends we go. Fraga's lead now down to some 0.3 of a second in the closing stages of this race, and Miyazono, as the flames spit out the back of that Nissan GTR, you can sense a bit of impatience possibly starting to come in. Lopez now under attack here from Hazal, who's looking to find his way through. Lopez surely must have made a mistake.
We got all 4 generations of the GTR right here.
Hazal to find his way through, and indeed the Turkish driver has done so. Into the left-hander we go, and that's where it begins to funnel up. That's where we saw a face full of barrier for Valerio Gallo earlier on in this race. In towards that hairpin bend, and then
holy shit, that's how you know Godzilla's crazy, because we have R32, R35, and R33 in the top 3 right there.
At the end of this one, Fraga it is that now leads from Mikael Hazal on the brakes and into the hairpin. Miyazono on the inside of Serrano, who's deep. That could leave him under pressure here from Gallo, possibly Kokkoman, and even Yamanaka. So Serrano is really lost out there. He just manages to emerge ahead of Kokkoman, but he slightly clipped the wall there on the left-hand side. And now Kokkoman is going to use the clean exit that he got out of the corner to his advantage, with the slipstream possibly being pulled in the air in front of him. But here comes Harold Valsen in the Nissan GTR as well, who goes through absolutely superlatively then, so into the tunnel.
Final lap.
On board with Rios Kokkoman, very briefly.
That R30, that
back at the sharp end of the field.
and it's RX-7 logo is so good.
Leads by 0.4 of a second over Hazal and
Color.
Lopez.
Good, I'm faded. Christmas Eve, fellas. I'm tired.
At the perfect opportunity, or is he going to be coming under pressure here from Mikael Hazal in the closing stages? Well, we're about to find out then as we come through to turn 2. It's all kicking off behind as Jose Serrano tries to recover from that mistake he made at the final corner a handful of moments ago. See what Serrano is going to be able to do in 9th position. At the moment, though, it's Igor Fraga who'll be grinning from ear to ear, but he's only got a 0.3 second advantage over Hazal and Lopez. If you remember back to last year, Fraga was on the podium finishing in 2nd. Hazal also on the rostrum finishing in 3rd place. Last year's victor, though, Valerio Gallo,
where's the map?
Down in 5th at the moment. Not even going to be set to finish on the podium if the checkered flag falls now, but we've got half a lap to go here in this Race of Champions event, and we'll be set to find out who will become the winner in just a handful of corners time. Fraga slightly wide through the S-bends. Does that leave him under a bit more pressure than he may like from Mikael Hazal? Lopez there ready to try and take advantage as well. Is anybody going to think about a lunge into the hairpin, or are they going to try and use the slipstream? Well, Lopez is setting something up on Hazal. On the inside he goes through into turn 2. Miyazono and Kokkoman close behind as well.
Brakes
That's
on
allowing
fire.
a breathing space here for Igor Fraga to clear off into the distance.
Wow, that was
and possibly
amazing.
set to take the victory here. Further behind, Lopez
Here it
versus
comes.
Hazal,
That's a straight.
part 2
It's a
then,
straight.
as we come into the tunnel. Igor Fraga, 12 months ago, finished in 2nd place, but in 2024,
let's
he
go.
does win
Let's
the
go.
Race
Let's
of
go.
Champions
Let's
here in
go.
Tokyo. Igor Fraga is on top. Koke Lopez in
Holy
2nd,
shit,
Mikael
man.
Hazal in 3rd, Miyazono takes 4th, the reigning Nations Cup World Champion ahead of Ryota Kokkoman.
Miyazono tried. But honestly, Godzilla, podium, all 3 of them. Sorry, R34. He ended in 9th. Ura had a really nice race until that crash, which was unfortunate. I'll make sure to have him make a little short of it. Good game, fellas. Ooh, skirt! Look at him talking.
At the very back of the field.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I'm out, dude. Yeah. Yo, good game, good race. Yo, that was sick. That was sick, bro. Did this guy just not even race? The Turkish, bro? Oh, damn. He's like, yo, fuck, that's crazy. It's like, yo, Miyazono's like, yo, you had me. You never had your car. Look at Mr. RX-7 over there. Good car.
2024. What a race
They
that
just gave
was.
him, they gave the turkey dude like just a
Gran
default
Turismo drivers.
like polo.
Each driver has won at least one world title, some significantly more than that. Takuma Miyazono,
Yeah, it's like
five-time world
to
champion.
reconvene like the post-race discussion, like, yo, man, I had that.
A photograph on the stage here in Japan as well. Celebrations to
That's
begin in a
unfortunate.
few moments' time. Let's go
Oh wait, they're in Japan?
to our winner, Igor
Oh my God,
Fraga.
they are. Oh, this was done on December 20th, and we're just getting a broadcast now. I guess that makes sense. Like, they're not gonna do shit. Like, so we're watching a broadcast, a pre-record shit. Oh, he speaks Japanese.
持ち運べたので、嬉しいです。よかったです。はい。
Damn.
チャンピオン経験者ばかりでのレースということで、本当に混戦になったんですけれども、抜け出す形になったなんていうか秘訣は何だったんでしょうか。
とにかく加速重視で、ずっと走ってました。もう直線が速かったので、なるべくコーナーとかで抜かれないようにして、その一周で、最終コーナーをうまく立ち上がれればちょっとリードを築けるので、そこを意識して。
That makes sense, of course.
最後トップ5はいずれもネーションズカップチャンピオンだったのは分かってました？
いやもうなんかごちゃごちゃになりすぎて、もうよく分かんなかったです。
You're just like adrenaline is taking over at that point. Congratulations.
1月4日にブラジルで挙げる予定です。
Is that this weekend?
おめでとうございます。
Yeah, it's this weekend, this Saturday.
さあ続いて2位になりましたコケ・ロペス選手にお話をお伺いします。まずは2位おめでとうございます。今のご気分はいかがでしょうか。
Very good and unexpected because in the practice we did I was low but my
The translator, he don't speak Japanese.
And this in the race situation makes the difference because staying with Igor's car we could always try to overtake in the end. And actually that's how I could get the P2.
Yo, put in a chat if you think the GTR has anything to do with it. Is it the car? What won last year?
結構速い車だったので、イゴールになんとかついていくことができて、一番最後でやっぱりリスクをオーバーテイクできたのがやっぱり良かったですね。
What car won last year?
GTR での戦いだったんですけれども、GTR の車との相性はいかがだったんですか。
How do you feel driving a GTR?
You know, all the cars in the game, especially for this combo, they are very powerful. So you really have to be careful of when to put the throttle because they are just too powerful to be driven. So yeah, it's a nice car.
すごくいい車なんですけど、すごいパワーがあるので、やっぱりスロットルはやっぱりすごい慎重に踏まないといけないというのがありますね。でもいい車です。
はい、ありがとうございました。おめでとうございます。
I have to say also that Kawakami-san gave me the power for the P2.
川上さんが最初借りたのがちょっと
It's like random. Okay, never mind.
あ、そうだったんですね。さあそしてミカエル・ヒザル選手にもお話を伺います。ヒザル選手も日本語で大丈夫ですかね。3位ということだったんですが、1年ぶりのレースではないかと思うんですが、今の気分いかがですか。
Like he wasn't. I don't remember seeing his name or face during the season. Was he part of it? He's nervous, but he's good though. Like he had the R35. It was a Godzilla podium. So. No, that was good. That was really good. Caro seats, them sim rigs vibing.
ただ普段は一人で走ることが多いと思うんですが、大混戦でしたけれど、混戦の中で戦ったお気持ちというのはどうなんでしょ
う。That was crazy.
そうですね。GTR は すみません、ちょっと考えますね。GTR のコーナリングスピードはちょっと、難しかったですけど、でもトラクションは本当に良かったですから、そのバトルの能力で良かっただと思いますけど、でもイーゴルとコケ選手は最後のコーナーで本当に速すぎるんでしたから、しょうがないです。頑張りましたね。
はい、ありがとうございました。そして本当に日本語がお上手になられて本当にありがとう
Well,
ございます。
lovely to hear then from our top 3 finishers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Japanese
like
there from Mikhail Azali. He's been practicing, obviously, and credit also to Koke Lopez and Kanata Kawakami, especially for giving him the Lexus shirt, which has proven to be a good luck charm there for Lopez, finishing in 2nd place. So then, time to crown our Race of Champions champions in 2024. Our top 3 finishers. A round of applause here.
Serrano is not happy. He's just there because he's like, I gotta be here. He's bummed out.
And now time for the ceremony to begin.
Ura's probably like bummed out too.
Another round of applause then for our drivers here in Tokyo. The top 3 finishers in the Race of Champions 2024 about to receive their accolades. 3rd place then for Mikhail Hazal. He's been instrumental in the Gran Turismo World Series over the past few seasons, despite not being on the centre stage. In a racing capacity, he's been very much involved with a lot of behind-the-scenes work as well. Koke Lopez, as we know, part of the team that won the Manufacturers Cup in 2024 for Team Lexus. But the winner of the Race of Champions 2024 goes the way of the Brazilian.
This dude deserves this. Like, he really raced his ass off.
Manufacturers Cup lineup this season. And back on top once again is Igor for a 2nd time this season after winning the opening round of the GT World Series in Montreal in the summer. Now time for the trophies to be presented.
Our boy, there he is. What's happening?
Gran Turismo, 3rd place then awarded.
That's Kaz.
As he holds that trophy aloft. 2nd place to Koke Lopez. And 3 different nationalities on the podium as well, with Brazil's Igor Fraga on the top step for the 2nd time this season on the international stage with Gran Turismo.
Let's go, Igor. Is this like their Christmas party or like their holiday party? I guess year-end party. They have like I guess they celebrate. That's cool. I'm hoping that they celebrate like the drivers and all that. Polyphony Digital. It's like, hey, come here for the Race of Champs, because it's in Tokyo. Oh yeah, special year.
Well, the celebrations will go on into the night here at the Polyphony Digital Studio in Tokyo. What a season we have had in the Gran Turismo World Series. Jose Serrano being crowned as the Toyota Gazoo Racing Cup champion of this year. Takuma Miyazono winning the Nations Cup for a 2nd time. And Lexus with Kanata Kawakami, Harold Velson, Koke Lopez and Igor Fraga winning the Manufacturers Cup as well. And of course, Igor Fraga being crowned here tonight as the Race of Champions champion. Thank you so much for joining us in 2024. The GT World Series will return in 2025. Have a very happy new year.
Awesome. We'll return okay, so officially there will be a season next year. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm gonna head out for the day. Oh, they got the music and everything. But you know, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, in the chat. You know, it was a pleasure being here, and I will try next year. I endeavor to watch party every live broadcast. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take it easy. Happy New Year. Let's get it. 2025, our year. Turn up. Peace. Crap. How do I end this broadcast? Okay.